My name is Davy, for those who just who are joining right now for the first time. And I'm a software engineer at Hackages. And beyond that, I'm actually the founder at Hackages, and I like coding, and I'm in love with TypeScript. So if you haven't seen our webinar, we've been doing them for the last 6 weeks, basically, since the outbreak. The COVID outbreak started, and it has been fun. It has been fun, and I learned a lot, and from you, from your feedback, and now I just want to make sure that from what I learn, I can share more, and I can share with you more advanced things in TypeScript. Okay, so if you haven't watched the previous webinar, they're on our YouTube channel, so feel free to go ahead and subscribe there. We have some amazing content, some amazing plan for the future. Let me talk about that for a second. We're going to have up to 5 different guests in our channel. So we're going to have Danny, that's going to talk about web components. So for about 45 minutes, he's going to show you how to build a web component end to end. We're going to have Uri. It's a GraphQL guru. You might know him, and he's going to help with. He's going to show you how to use GraphQL, TypeScript, and all the crazy things the Guild team is building, and so many others. So subscribe on our YouTube channel, and you should be able to see to keep learning as we go. And guess what? We're not stopping. Even when things go back to normal, we're not gonna stop. We continue, right? So subscribe and stay awake, because I'm about to jump. So quickly, who was here last week? So someone is saying that the previous webinar is private. Okay, so that we can fix easily. Thanks, Fox. Thanks for that. Thanks for the feedback there. Hello, Sebastian. So yeah, so some amazing people coming in there. Thank you everyone again for joining. Okay, so let me get started. I have 3 simple topics for you today. The first one is the generic. So we're going to talk about, let me just zoom that a little bit. So tell me if you can see my code and if it looks pretty good for you. So, so the first thing we're going to talk about is overloading method and generics, right? That is not, this is not really a difficult topic, but I'm going to show you some ways of approaching that can make your code much easier, right? So I'm gonna start slowly, step by step, and let's get going. So I have a set of tests here. I say a set of tests, but there is not much really. So as you can see on the right, we have some tests. We have a function, find courses. I'm just gonna remove this because we don't need this at this stage. Okay, so we have a function here, find courses, and when you pass a number, it's gonna look up that number and return this thing. It's called find courses, right? And Gunter was there. I didn't say anything. It's amazing. Welcome every first timer, and we're gonna have fun right now. So let me push. I'm actually reading your comments at the same time, and keep them going. Oh, by the way, if you have questions, ask them in the comment, and I can either reply right away as I read them, or we can postpone them at the end so I can do a kind of recap and answer your question, right? So let's keep going. So as you can see here, I have 3 tests. So the second one is we should be able to find by title, and the last one we say we should be able to find by author. Okay, so those are the tests, and as you can see, they're red. Red is not good. Now let's turn them green. Let's turn them into green thing, right? It's gonna be super easy. I mean, super easy. Don't say that. It's never super easy. So let me do that. So here, what do we have? How do we go about this? We're just going to have a function. So the function here is called find courses, right? So keep in mind that I'm talking about overloading method, right? So what we're going to have, something really simple, right? We're just gonna implement the fact that we have we can find courses, right? That's basically it. I have an interface on the right. So that interface here, okay, I have so many screen opening, but no worries, should be fine. So we have the author interface, right? That just has a string. And then we have the courses interface that has 3 property, including an author, right? And we have some data, right? So 2 courses, 2 authors, and that's it. So now let's implement that function. So the function is called find courses. So let me go here and say, okay, function find courses. Okay, so far we're not doing really much. So I'm gonna really trying to go TDD approach, and in about 10 minutes we should wrap that up, right? So let's do this step by step, incrementally harder as we go, right? So now we have these find courses, and to get it here, I actually need to export it. Okay, so now what do we have? The first one says it takes a number. So I'm just gonna say here, this is a number. So a number here. So what do you do when you have a number? Just for the sake of writing TypeScript correctly, I know this thing return a set of courses, right? So it's just an array like this. So once I have that, I should start seeing a small error right here. So that error says indeed that we're not returning anything, right? So we should be able to fix that. How would you go about this? Very simple. We're just gonna, I'm gonna be completely dumb. The idea is to go red, and then we refactor as we go. So the first thing that comes in mind is like, I'm going to receive here, I'm going to check the type of ID, and then say if that type is number, or we can actually just say we have an ID. So we're just gonna say here return have courses on the top. So I'm just reading from those courses here, and we're just gonna filter that and say for each courses, we're just gonna check the course ID is equal at this ID. Okay, that's it. So as you can see, first implementation, it's green. So that first part has turned green. So let me remove that and make sure that it's right. So if you see here, if I comment out here, it turned red, and if I go back here, it's green. Okay, first one nailed. Okay, second one, by title. What is a title? As we can see here, the title is a string. Okay, so yeah, indeed. So yeah, technically I can see the yeah, add return statement. Please keep going. So now we have the second one. The second one say this could be also a string. Well, okay, it's not an ID then. Let me just rename that as a search term. Okay, and say this could be a string, right? So now we're implementing the second one. So let me get some space here. So now it doesn't work anymore. So let me fix that, because we want to make sure that we don't break anything. So it's still green. That part is still green. If I zoom out a little bit, it's still okay for everyone. Can you all see that still? Is it still okay? Thanks, Eddie. Welcome, Eddie. We seriously need to talk, right? So look at this. Now we still have the first one. We refactor a little bit because now we introduced the string part. But now I have either a number or a string. So this is where I want to say, I want to check, I want to fix the second one, right? Because it's a TDD. I want to fix the second one. So if I say here, search term, what do I need here? Saying return number or string also. Well, no, if you check the tests are basically returning courses, and that's kind of the name of the function, right? So let's do this. So I'm just gonna say type of here and say, if this thing is a string, okay, if it's a string, what I want to do here, I'm just going to return kind of the same thing. Let me just yank that up here, and we're going to say, instead of this, I'm gonna check the title, and I'm gonna check the title against the search term, right? So yeah, that's should it be course title? Indeed, for this one, it's the course title here, and right below, we're basically using the TypeScript way of scoping things to say, okay, that part here covers the string case, right? And that line 30 here covers the ID part, so the number part, right? So this looks good, but this is a bit fragile, right? It passed the test. We can leave it like that at the moment, but if you do that on your own, please just either uppercase everything or lowercase everything, right? So we have the second one down, right? So how about the third one? The third one say by author. So let me go here and then say, if I want to check by author, right? So I can use a different approach here. I can check that the search term is an instance of author, or many ways to go about it. But look at here, I only have three possibilities here. So let me add author, which is the third one. So by doing so, I'm just adding one more constraint, and TypeScript knows that now I need to handle those three cases, right? Okay. so yeah, okay, I'm just reading your comment at the same time, right? So look, now we have this. What I'm going to say here is kind of the same. I'm just gonna use the type of and then search term. I'm going to say, let me handle the number here. Will probably be much easier at this stage, and I'm gonna move this one up here. So right, that handles the part where there is a number, and then I can safely say here, this one is actually handling the part where courses. And now we're trying to search by author, right? So what we just want here is to say, okay, that course here has you're going to have author, and then let's say the name should, for example, include here the search term. So now you know what is happening here is the fact that search term here is now an author, because I already covered the number part, the string part, and now here by default it knows that it's going to be an author. So that we saw a bit last week, so I can just do this. So as you can see, it's all green on the left, all green on the right. Yay, we good. We made one step there. We have all our tests passing, right? Now all our tests are passing. So now let's go back a little bit and talk about overloading method, right? So we have that was just a way to get going. Now let me make sure that you have everything at before you, so you can understand what is happening here. So that's if the type of search term can be a string or a number, it's equal to a number. Do what is a curly braces? Not sure that I understand the question, Lynn. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. So let's just a second. We can use indeed three predicate. That's where I'm going, right? So that's basically where I'm going here. So what do we have here? So the first thing here, when I say, for example, find courses, Now, what do I read? So you can say that at this stage, when you say find courses, it says that function takes an argument that has three possibilities, either a string, a number, or author, right? So if I give you that function, you only see the possibility to pass one of these three arguments, right? So there is a way to make this help already here much better, right? So let me just show you how you can actually improve this. So the first thing you will do here is to say, well, okay, find course is, it takes a search term, right? So sometimes it's a number. So what you can say here, you can create a function, find course, and then you say this one is a number, right? And return a set of courses, right? So you can do this. So that's a function, right? And since it's exported, you need to export this one as well. So I just need to make sure that I type it right? So we have the first one right here, right? This function, right? So that's the first one. So if I go right below and I remove this and try again, you can see now it says, okay, I have one that takes an ID. So I know that I have up to 3 of them. So I can just do this and then say, this one's gonna be a title, which is a string. And this one's gonna be an author, which is of type author, right? So I went from having one function, all right, that basically says that that does the thing, to having 3 of them, right? So already, if you're the one using this, if you're the one using this this code, you'll be able to see like, okay, I can call this function by passing either a number, a string, or an author, right? So I'm just incrementally adding complexity here, but this is not really complex. What I'm doing here, I'm using what TypeScript calls overloading, right? So let me write that here. This is overloading functions, right? So that's what that thing is here. So let me make sure that you can see that. And that is what is happening here. So if I say 1, 2, 3, and then look up this value, yep, and then look up this value, I see the result of that coming right here, right? Okay, so now it becomes already much simpler to read if you think about that for a second. So once again, I show you, if you don't have those 3 overloading method here, what you see when you're trying to use this is basically one function with one parameter, a function with one parameter. Okay, so that's already much better, right? So that's the power of using overloading method here. Okay, so now how about the fact that here I have a 3 implementation, right? So this one's gonna be that this one handles string, this one's gonna handle numbers, and this one's gonna handle authors, right? And all of them return courses. So the first thing already that I can say, I'm actually going now into no, it's not a TypeScript thing. No, JJ, yeah, is that your name? Yeah, it's not a TypeScript thing. Yeah. Now I'm gonna clean up a little bit and do that with generics, right? So how would you do this here? Yeah. So the first thing here is already like, okay, this is find courses. Well, with find courses, I can say it's an ID here, a title, or an author, right? So I can already say that this one could be, this argument here could be of type T. So I can go here and then add this this type here, right? That's already one step. Hey Gary, nice meeting you. And no, that thing isn't TypeScript thing. It is a plugin that I use to display my code live. Okay, and to do testing, and that's the green things you see right there. It's called Wallaby.js. Okay. Oh yeah, that's a good question. Is overloading function a good thing? It sounds bad. Wow. Okay. So it's the thing that I don't like with this session is like I can't interact with you directly because I can just talk, but you will just have to type. No, overloading functions are pretty good, and all the popular library, all the library you use out there, they use overloading function to actually make to give you a better way to express your code, to understand documentation and stuff like that. So you find them literally. If you use you all use Lodash, right? In a way, you use Lodash, right? Yeah, Wallaby is not free. Indeed, you can use Coca as well. It's another version of it, but you know, life can't always be free, right? So yeah, I was basically explaining the fact that here you can use you use that generic, but because we have that generic right here, we don't require the one with title anymore, right? So we're still okay on this side, but now here I have to say this thing is gonna be, I'm dealing with a number, right? For example, and you have the one, for example, with a string. So let's say, what can I have here? Advance. Okay, I can copy what is already here, so we can see it on the. Let me give you that. There you go. Let me move that over here, and right. So yeah, I can see it over here, right? So you can use it like I'm already, but if I go here and then say find, let me make some space, and I do this, now you see it just says this thing takes either let me move that again. You have find cursors that take an argument, and you can see here it's unknown, and you just have to say like I want to use something like a number, for example, and then when I go here I can see that it says you have a version that takes a number, or another one that takes that will take author right here, right? So but that is one way you can do it. There is another thing that is missing here. Yeah, indeed, it's OOO concept. Yeah, it's what it's about here. So there is another way you can do it here, right? Because here, okay, that's at the implementation level, it's not really a big deal because I have you can refactor that's just dummy implementation, and then as you have all your tests passing, then you can start refactoring and make it a bit more generic, right? So wait a second, I'm just gonna share with you something quickly, then you will be able to see the power of generics, right? Generics and overloading. So if I show you this, for example, so what do you see here? I took it from a very popular library that you all know. I took it from a very popular library. So this is, for example, the way Lodash. So let me remove everything that is like this. So it's gonna be a bit. So you can see there is Lodash right here. So it's basically the way Lodash writes what you call like a predicate, right? So they're basically typing the predicate, right? So you get let me remove a few of them, and then I'll be able to put them back one after the other. So you see, for example, here it said that predicate will take a value iterator type word. That's kind of what we have. And that's gonna take something of type T, and then something of type S, and then you have this, it's gonna return that filter here, right? So if I take the second one, you have the fact that it's kind of the same thing. This one's gonna be iterating through the keys of an object and should return a Boolean, for example. If you take another one, let me go here. You see that it's kind of the same idea, right? So I have, for example, let me show here that there are many ways you can actually clean that code to make it even more generic, right? And instead of saying find courses, right? So what I could say here, I'm going to take everything that is courses. Yeah, okay. And then say, so find, I just create a function find now. And then what that function is gonna do? Did I break in something? No. Yeah, okay. This one is broken. Yeah, okay. For example, I have this one this time. Now I can say this one is of type T. Okay, so that's the kind of argument you're passing right here. And then you can now say like, okay, the argument will be of type T and the return should be of type U, for example, right? So I'm changing the syntax here. I have some broken code here, but that's not a big deal, right? So we can remove, yeah, obviously we're gonna need to fix it right below in a second, right? But oh yeah, I'm actually typing, but you're not seeing entirely my screen. So let me go back here. So that now you have this find here, and then you will say, see, the implementation is still okay now, but now you need to go and a little bit change your code to actually match that this approach here. And then yeah, it can get quite sophisticated. So I'm gonna show you one last thing about this because I still have quite some content to share with you. I did let me put it here. I'm just gonna share with you this simple code, for example. So here I have something. So what is it? Well, let me make sure that I pick everything for you. Yeah, okay. And then I have some typing as well. So that's another example that I prepared for you. So let me just share that with you. Yeah, okay. So now you see here, for example, I have two interfaces. I have a string iterator and an object iterator. And then I have a function filter. And that function, it's the same idea, right? It's literally the same idea. And then here what you will say is you have a function that takes a collection, but that collection could be either a string or an object or a list of elements, right? You get the idea, right? So what you do here, you say someone's gonna pass a predicate. And in that case, I'm saying, okay, the predicate is a string iterator, and it's gonna return a Boolean. So that's the first predicate here that says, if my collection is a string, it's gonna go through the thing. So that's you implementing your own filter. You're not using any native filter. You're just using your own filter. But the implementation here it's not really important because behind the scene, what is important for you to understand is like now you have a filter function that takes let me squeeze this. So you have a filter function that takes either a string or an object or a list of things. But then this iterator, as you can see, is an interface that takes a string here as an entry and returns something of type T. And I'm just saying it's a Boolean by default, right? That's also something I think a lot of people don't often use. It's like if you give a type like this, usually you have to go here and then say, okay, that's actually a Boolean, right? But if you want to avoid that, and you know by default is a Boolean, so what you could do here, you just go here and then you say that type by default is a Boolean, right? So that's the way you will do that, right? So that's what I'm saying here up here. And then here I have now iterator, object iterator. And then I say, well, an object iterator takes an object, something here, and then it's going to return a Boolean. And then I say again that that thing is a Boolean. And that's basically the way you could use that, right? So I have a few more examples, but I need to jump quickly on the next section. But that's in short. Overloading method it's just not that difficult. It's a great tool to have, and every single library you will use out there. I can actually show you one last, and then I move on to the next one. So let me show you that. I put my hands on Lodash, so that's the thing I was trying to show you right now. So let me quickly show you that. So I put my hand on the Lodash documentation at some point, because that's a good tool to learn. So let me share with you that my screen here. Yeah, can you see that? Yeah, so I just need to share that with you. So yeah, as you can see here, Lodash uses the same approach, right? You have a filter, takes a collection, and that basically it. And that is just documentation, by the way. Okay. So let me go to our next example. So let me go here, and now we go to the next one. So if you have any question, please ask. I will make sure that I can answer them as we go. So next one. Have you heard about the typed this before in TypeScript? Right? No? Okay. I'm gonna talk quickly about polymorphism. Let me remove that. And so polymorphism and the this keyword in TypeScript. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna cover right now. So any question? Everything good? Yeah. Yeah, that's indeed where we're going. Lily code. Yeah, sort of, indeed, sort of. So this is an example I took from someone that is quite very good at doing this TypeScript thing. So I'm just gonna have, for example, think about this dealership around the corner of your place that sell electric cars and gas card and stuff like that. So for them, if you were to build a system, you're gonna have something like a car, right? And then when you go there, you can either rent the car, right? So I'm just gonna add a rent function here, and when you rent the car, I'm just gonna log the fact that the car has been rented, right? So okay, so that's one thing. Now, what you want to do? Oh, by the way, do you remember jQuery? Have you used jQuery? Do you still use jQuery? That's actually what I should have started. Have you used, yeah, you probably used jQuery, right? What was cool about jQuery? Anyone remember what was the cool thing about jQuery? I have a little bit of delay, so I'm kind of reading your messages with a few second delay. But yeah, thanks, Fox. Fox got it. Chaining was really good. I mean, who doesn't like chaining? So that's basically where I want to go. Yeah, the Fluent API, very good. Overloading methods, so many things. Yeah, indeed, you're right, Florian. Yeah, that's basically. Yeah, indeed. So that's what I'm trying to do here. So let's say, for example, so I'm gonna use polymorphism entities to make it happen here. So I have a way to say like, so someone can rent a car and can also return the car, right? So we're just gonna go here, yank that, and put it over here as well, has been returned, right? So now what I want to do here is to say, in the dealership, the car dealership, that person can have has the gas car, right? So that extend a car, right? So you know what it means already. So which here you can now say like a gas car need to be charged, right? So that's the idea. And here I can put it back here. Let me yank that line again and then put it back here. Okay. So, right. So that's the idea. And then you can also have electric cars. So you can also have electric car, but the electric cars has to be filled. So let me call that electric car. All right. So what you do here, you fill it, right? So that's the idea. Now, what I want to do, I want to be able to say like, when you create you create a car, say gas car. Okay, I want to say this is a new gas car, right? So that's basically what that thing is. Okay. What is happening? There is too many news there. So, okay. Now, what do we have here? What I want to be able to say is, I have a gas card and I want to be able to rent it, charge it, and sometime return it, right? Yeah. Please return it, right? You want to be able to chain them like this, okay? So that's where I want to go. So, you know, if you do OOP, this is a pretty simple thing to do, right? I guess you know what I need to do right here, right? So that's the idea, right? So what I want to do here is basically saying like, to be able to chain them like this, I just have to go here and then say, well, a car can be rented and returned here. So what I just need to do, I can just return the this keyword. And the this keyword here, I'm just using the this of that class car, right? So when you create an instance, this will represent that instance, right? But there is a little trick, right? There is a little trick here. You just have to say, for example, you can actually type it this way, right? I'm using this as the instance, but you look at this, see the difference of color that I have here. You see the difference of color that I have here? I'm using this here. I'm returning this, which is the thing here. And I'm using this here as a type, right? You see the difference of color. This one is kind of greenish and this is bluish. You see that? So that's basically the little trick here. So if I go and then I say now for this one, this is the type, and let me return this, right? So let me zoom in. So I don't, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing literally everywhere that I want to use it as return this, right? And then I still have this one as well, and I need to return this, right? So that's the idea here, right? So I get, and now you can see here I can change them, right? And if I want to create, let's say elect car, and then say new electric car, right? So I get that this is supposed to be const, right? So this is what I have here, and I can do exactly the same thing. I can say I have an electric car, and I can rent it, I can fill it, but see, I don't see charge because there is no charge there, but I can fill it and then return it when I'm done, right? So that I just create a Fluent API in TypeScript, right? You will do that in JavaScript easily as well. The trick here isn't not, it's not really about returning this, because returning this is a whole different concept in a JavaScript. It's basically dealing with context and stuff like that. What I'm pointing out here is this little trick here, the typing here, and the fact that you're returning this here gives you that the polymorphism that you need to be able to call, for example, when you say gas card, right? It's a gas card, right? It's from gas card. Got it? But then when I call rent, I'm actually calling the rent from car, right? That's the extension that gives me this. But then when I do charge, well, charge, I'm calling this one. So technically the return function here, it should return me something that is an electric car, a gas car. It return something that is of type gas car. But no, it doesn't. It return me something indeed that is gas card, but I can still call return here that comes from the car up here. That's the polymorphism that you get with that. Yeah, still there? Questions, maybe? Hello, anyone? You good? That's it. That's my example here, right? So I'm gonna quickly jump on the last one, and we should be. No. The question there is the question from Lean. Is that the way you say that? Lean or Lily? Yeah, Lily Code. That's the way I read it. The this here is basically typing. You're typing your this, right? Type this can be replaced with the type itself, right? Yeah. So that's pretty. That's it. And then I have access to I can just return this here, but I don't need this, to be honest. I don't need this, right? So it's just here, the point there is like I'm having, this is a type this, right? Cool. So let me continue here quickly with the last part, and then we can wrap that up here. So have you heard about conditional type? Right? So conditional type. Conditional type is actually one of the latest feature in TypeScript. It's the idea there is you take a type and then you will just say I have t. So let me say, for example, that's the way you think about it. So well, here is a conditional type. Say t extend, if t extend u, then return x, otherwise return y. Okay, so for example, in TypeScript, you can say, you can create a non-nullable like this, and then you say this is of type. So what is a non-nullable for you? So a non-nullable is literally a type that says for each type, remove anything that is remove everything that is nullable, that is falsy in a way. So I will say here, nullable is not falsy really. It's mostly removing null and undefined, right? So I can say here, this one extend, if t extend null or undefined, then, so I'm checking that this, if this thing is never, then return t, right? So I'm just creating that type right here. So weren't you happy? Yeah, that is correct. It is correct because in TypeScript that it exists already. So I can just make a I can make a quick typo here. You will see that it's just because non-nullable exists, but that's kind of the way it's written. So you're basically saying you dynamically choose between the type you want to use, right? That's basically a way to filter out a certain type that are kind of they're either null or undefined. And then, so I'm going to explain you step by step what is actually happening behind the scene here. So let me show you a quick example of how you will use that in real life. Okay, so so what is happening here is like I'm gonna have a function that transform text, right? So let's say a function that transform. So you give it a text, right? And what is a text? It's a string, right? And then you're going to say that this thing, if there is a text in there, you say text dot transform or replace. Yeah, so you just want to transform that, and then you say I'm just gonna pass something like this and say give me this, like that. Okay, so I'm just taking a text and I'm gonna replace all the f and then just put them p in there. Okay, so if you go here and then you say I want to call transform, and then you pass, for example, foo, right? And you're returning a text, right? So basically you're returning a string. So basically here you can call to lowercase, for example, right? That shouldn't be an issue, right? So now let me say, for example, now here instead of a string only, I can also have null, right? So when I do that, here I can say now that this thing return either a string or null. That's what I'm doing here. I'm just saying that. But if you do this and you remove that part, right? And then you go inside your tsconfig. So that's something I might have shown you already last week. So let me put that into true and then say strict null check. And then I said true here. I think here is gonna complain now. I'm gonna have something that complains because it says, well, this thing can be null, and I'm not checking against that. So it says object is possibly null. Okay, so that's why here I'm just saying that this could be a text or this here, right? So, and as you can see now below, it's also saying that object is possibly null, right? So you getting into some TypeScript magic, because now TypeScript is actually preventing you to do whatever you want with this thing here, right? So yeah, this could be null. So maybe here you want to say something like this could be null, and then if it's null, then you call the thing here. But let's say now, for example, I want to say maybe a way to fix that is to say like as we saw before, I can already type this. Oh, you can see the top question. Thanks. Any question? I missed something here. I was into the thing that I didn't see the question. Even this type can be replaced with the type S. Yeah, so that did. Yeah, that works pretty well as well. So yeah, that's basically what I did right there, right? So let me quickly go here, and then trying to do it differently now. So when you do for example here, I can see that I can pass either a string or a number, right? So what is a string or a number? Let me create, for example, an argument, and then I'm going to say this argument, let's say, so this is arg, and that thing could be of type string or null, right? And then I will say here, let me just put it like this, right? So if I do this, and then I go right here, let me do that, and then pass arg here, right? So when I do this and I try to say, yeah, arg is not defined. Indeed, you're right. Let me go here. So it's a arg is not defined. I'm just gonna say this one is foo. So it's weird here. I don't even need to use that declare here. So that should be good here. So as you see, the replacement here. So instead of using this like that, now I can, for example, say, I want to filter out, I want to type this, right? I want to make sure that this function transform is well typed, right? So let me express that. How did we do it before? What we did here, we said we can create a function, and then we said transform, it's our function. And what do we do inside that function? We say we're gonna receive a text, and that text can be null. And if it's null, it's just null, right? And we're gonna have the version that says this thing could be a string, right? And then the thing that I'm trying to have here is basically a way to also say, I can write that this way. I can go here and then say, we're going to have a text indeed, but the function transform itself becomes something like generic, and I'm going to say this one is gonna extend a string, because I know it's a string that will go in there, right? So now I can say this is a string, and now I need to return something, right? So the way you can write that by using, by expressing that in your code by using conditional type, you will say, for example, t. What do you think is happening here? So you're gonna return a string, right? So you're just gonna say if t extend. So you're saying that if the thing that is returned is extend string, right? Then return string. Otherwise, return null. Right. So let me clean that up here, and then we can discuss what is happening at this stage. And right. So well, do we have a small error here? Expected. Yeah, I have this, which is good. And then yeah. Yeah, this is pretty good. It should be completely okay. So when I go here now, I can see that I have the three possibilities in here, right? So I'm using this to kind of express what I want. So I can quickly guide you toward what is happening here. So if you ask, if you for example ask what is the type of I'm almost done. I'm almost done, right? So stay with me a few more seconds. Yeah. Okay. Any question here? Yeah. Yeah. I'm almost done. Give me a few more seconds. I have a few more things to show. All right. So we should be able. I'm reading your comment and keep them going. Right. Please keep them coming. So what I'm saying here is, if I have the type of, let's say, transform, and I'm calling it with foo, for example. Well, it's a small typo here, and then go here and then say this. Yeah. So it says a string. It is a string here, right? Now, if I say, for example, whoa, something goes really fast here. I don't know what that thing was, but foo, we see a string, okay? And then here it says no, yeah, no, it shouldn't give me no here. And if I give it args, it should give me something of type string here, right? So that basically what we have. But basically, what we're doing on the at this line here, yeah, something is weird in that example. Let me make sure that I get I put it right. So here's a question for you quickly. Do you understand what is happening here? What I'm saying right here? Do you understand what is happening here? Yeah, replaced by. Yeah, that's a good one. Arinto, very good. Replaced by is a good guess. It's a good way of saying it, indeed. Yeah. So do you see, this thing should remind you something you use all the time in your code. On line 9, this is something you use often in your code. So what you do in your code, you will say, for example, you will go here and then say, I'm going to have a variable that's a name, and then I'm going to say if args, right? I'm going to say name is going to be equal to Davy, for example, or nothing, right? So what am I doing here? Let's give it another login, because it's complaining about something here. I need to, yeah, what is happening here? Okay, I think my, yeah. It's you're kind of using a ternary operator, right? That's basically what we're doing there. We're using a ternary operator, and the result of that. So we're saying that if these args exist, I say args here, but let me say, for example, if true, then it's, yeah, you're just basically saying if that thing is true, use this one or use this one. That's the idea, right? It's a ternary conditional, right? That's just what that thing does. And this is what we have here. This is what we have on line 9 here, right? That basically it. So let me show you an example where you could use it. You can leverage that at differently than in a function like this one. Now I'm just using it as a way to extract, to express what is happening in my function, but I'm gonna show you how you will use it in in a different scenario. So you should see that really as a way to assign a new type dynamically, right? So let me make sure that I give you so there is a thing, for example, if you say, let me take a class, let's call that class, let's say there is a cat. I'm not a fan of cat, but never mind. Let's call that an interface here. So we're going to have a cat, a lion. We're going to have, let's say, a shark. Yeah. So a shark is here. So I'll call that like this. So what are they? So you can clearly see that they're all animals. So it could be a cat, could be a lion, or it could be a shark, right? For example, right? So that's what I have here. So what could you do here? You can, for example, say, I want to extract. Oh yeah, the example will probably be, yeah. Let me extract all the animals that live on let's. How can I say that? How can I say that? I want to take every animal that is that lives in the either in the forest or on the sea, or right. For example, let's say we want to extract from that list. We want to extract anything that is a shark. So let's say here I'm just gonna create something called fish, for example, right? Let's say a shark is a fish, right? So now what I'm going to use, I'm gonna use the extract from TypeScript, right? So it's basically a way to say, I'm gonna filter out some stuff and then return the things that I need, right? But you're gonna need to have a way to something that says how you extract them, right? So how would you say that? So let's say, let me call that extract fish here. So the way you're going to say that, you're gonna say anything A. So A is the type you get here in the generic. It's so quiet here. So what I'm going to say simply is like, if A extend, for example, has a property, for example, swim, right? And then you say this thing is, for example, true, then return, if that thing is true, return A or return never. Okay, something got broken in my IDE here. So you see what I just said? I extract fish. I just say, whatever you give me here, I'm just gonna filter them out and then return only takes the one that have this property. So that's basically the little trick, right? That's basically the little trick. So what you will do here, you say, now the last step is to say, let me go back here and then say this one has a property swim here, and then say it's a Boolean, right? So that's it. And they don't have it, right? Right. So if I go back here, I'm just gonna say animal. I just want to get the thing. So I'm just gonna say here const fish. No, it's not a const, it's a type. So I'm just gonna take dynamically the type of the things that I need here. So let's say fish here, and I'm going to say this one is extract. Okay, I think something is bugging me. Okay, it's probably this line. So that's the one that is slowing me down. So I can say now extract fish, and I can pass the animal here. Yeah, so back to normal. So if I over this, you can see that it says fish is never. Anyone knows why? Anyone? So what I'm trying to do there, yeah, just want to see if you see what I did as a mistake, which mistake I made right there. So basically what I'm saying here is this, I have a cat, a lion, and a shark. And then I say, I'm going to extract from that list. So I'm only gonna take the one where that have a property swim in it. There is a little mistake that I'm doing there. Anyone sees it? Swim prop is not present. Swim prop is not present. Swim is not true. Yeah, okay. That's correct. There you go. So if you go here, you see that? So basically by doing so, I have three interfaces. And then here what I'm doing, I say, okay, I have animals, but if I want to dynamically extract the type out of this, I can just say this one extend this. And then if you find that here, if you find this property in one of these three things on the top, right? If you find that property there, then return that thing here. And that's why here now I have this equal shark. Understood that? This is a better example than the one I had on top there, right? But that's the idea. Okay. So thanks for your input, people. That's really good. Thanks, Angel. That was a good input there. Yeah. So, how do you feel about this? Question? Is it clear? Yeah. I like the interaction. I like a lot of questions, a lot of discussion there. And Lily Code is just beating the hell out of everyone, asking so many questions and answering them at the same time. So what if Steven is asking, what if you have another interface with swim that it will just take it, right? So let me do here and then say, no, a lion doesn't swim, right? We agree on that, right? Let's say, well, yeah. Is that the way you say that? Well, I don't know. I don't remember. Let's say swim and then say Boolean here. Now, if you go back here and you look that up, you're gonna see, oh, no, I need to add it here, obviously. Yeah, I can show you something really cool. So let me add whales here quickly and then look that up and then you see, boom, it's a shark or a whale. Sounds good? Steven, is that okay for you? Yeah. Yeah, it's whale. Yeah, this is a country, people. This is a country. Thank you, Fox. You rock. Indeed, you're right. So that closes the topic today. But there's something I want to show you. There's something I had in mind right away, but okay, it's gone. Question. Send them my way. So there are many of them, by the way, right? There are many possibilities in terms of using conditional. So you have a whole documentation, like non-nullable is one of them, extract, there is exclude. For example, let me go to extract and then say here extract should be okay. Let me show you that. There is a whole documentation for that. Extract. Why I'm not seeing it? For example, exclude. Okay, something is broken somewhere, and that's why my thing isn't working. Exclude. Okay. Something is broken there. Okay, let me make sure that I close it, open it again. Sometimes that's what it takes to just have. Okay, this time it didn't work. Why? Okay, that's weird. I'm just trying to get the documentation out of the thing here, because actually here I could have written just extract from TypeScript and that should work, but I don't see why. It's because I'm using another version. Anyway, keep the question coming. What are you saying? Coming from C#, this is strange. Coming, yeah, okay, yeah, that's I understand that indeed. By the way, yeah, look. One of the things you need to see here. This is what you call type level programming. This is what that's the way it is called, right? That's the way it's called. Okay. So people, I'm over time, and yeah. If you have any questions, please ask them. You can go on hackages.io. So I'm just gonna write that here. So we have hackages.io is the website of a company where you can find training, and you can go on our YouTube. So Hackages Learning. Yeah, subscribe. We have quite some amazing content coming soon. Thanks, Lily, for coming. Yeah, if you didn't watch the previous webinar, you can go on the YouTube channel here, and then subscribe there. You should be able to see the previous webinar as well. And we also split them into smaller chunk, so you can actually rewatch them in smaller chunk. Yeah, stay tuned. If you have questions, I can still answer them right now. Otherwise, we good, people. It was great. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for the questions. It's great. And it was good to see some familiar faces there. Fox, who are you? Fox, is it the Fox that I know? Or it's one of the Fox that I forgot to put in here? Yeah. Fox here. But if I put you here, you won't be filtered here. Where are you from, Fox? I want to know. Is it scheduled? Yeah, okay, people. See you next week, same time, and let's have fun again. Okay? I think yeah, we're gonna be talking about some more TypeScript stuff next week, and the week after you're gonna do TypeScript and web component. Yeah, and whatever you are in your country, if you're in Belgium, if you're in Amsterdam, Dublin, subscribe to our we have a meetup group in each of these countries. We have our YouTube channel and the online training from Hackages. You can find them on the Hackages website. So yeah, it's yeah, the webinar is every Thursday, and we're not gonna stop anytime soon. So if you have to go back to work, please do, and see you next time. Hasta la pronto. Nice to meet you, Fox. Your name seems so familiar to me. That's why I was asking. But yeah, the one I know isn't from the UK. And thanks for joining the session, folks. Yeah, Jordan, really thank you for your input. Swim is Boolean. That was the thing. That was the little thing there. I didn't even put that on purpose. I was like, oh, that thing doesn't work. And you fix it. So it's good. And we have a survey. So give your feedback there. We'll be amazed. I mean, it's we're listening to you. We're improving our code based on that. So our session based on that. So go ahead and yeah, Gary, nice meeting you indeed. I meant electric indeed. That is good. It's good, great to read some nice comments. Yeah, people, there we go. Hasta la pronto. That's what I said. Ja, ja, folks. Ik kan Dutch spreken, ja. Ik kan Nederlands spreken, niet Dutch. Okay, people. Cool. Thank you very much. Let's do it again next week.